right, here today we're doing our soil conservation notes. Here we go. All right, so the value of soil. So what is a natural resource? A natural resource is defined as anything in the environment that humans use. Soil is one of Earth's most valuable natural resources because everything that lives on this planet depends on soil. Finally, plants need soil to grow, and humans and animals depend on the plants or the other animals who eat the plants for the food. So everything's connected together. Soil's extremely important to us. Now, soil can be damaged and we can actually lose soil. Number one, loss of fertility. This happens through the loss of moisture and nutrients. So soil that's not real fertile isn't going to produce as much food, and that's a problem. And second, loss of topsoil. Remember in our previous notes I said that topsoil was the layer that we wanted really thick that farmers really liked? Well, this is why. You start to lose that topsoil, it's going to get narrower and narrower. Roots aren't going to be able to get down and grow. You're not going to have as much nutrients. That exposed soil is then eroded away by wind and rain. And once it's eroded away, it's not coming back. Once we lose it, it's gone. The Dust Bowl, many of you might have heard about the Dust Bowl in the 1930s in the Great Plains. This was due to severe drought and windstorms that would create these massive dust storms across the plains, and all that soil was blown away. And they lost all that topsoil, so they couldn't get anything to grow out there. It was horrible. Farmers would plow up the prairie grasses that held the soil together. Therefore, there were no roots, which meant there was no way to keep the soil in place, which is why all those dust storms would carry the soil away. So it was a pretty bad problem. And from that, we learned that we needed to protect the soil and that we needed to come up with some conservation methods, ways to keep it in place so we didn't have that happen again and lose all that topsoil. So, soil problems. Poor soil management can result in two main problems. Number one, erosion, and number two, nutrient depletion. Erosion is defined as the carrying away of soil by rain, snow, ice, or wind from one place to another. Nutrient depletion is when soil becomes less fertile. Now, here's a great picture in the back. You can see there's our Lake Erie. All right, Findlay's about right in here, and then look, there's Maumee Bay, there's Toledo. Look what's coming out here. That's the Maumee River. And look at that soil that's been eroded away from all of our farmland that's being carried by the Maumee River out into the lake. Same here. There's Sandusky Bay. And you can see how brown it is too. That's all that soil that's floating out there. It's lost. We can't get it back now. So obviously it is a problem. That's a satellite view of Lake Erie. So how can soil be conserved? Conserve means the act of preserving or saving. So that's what conservation means, the act of preserving or saving. And there are 7 main ways. There's more, but these are the main ones that we're going to talk about to conserve soil. Number 1, we call conservation tillage. 2, crop rotation. 3, contour plowing. 4, conservation buffers. 5, windbreaks. 6, terracing. And 7, wetlands. Let's talk about conservation plowing to tillage. You see lots of this around our county here in Hancock County. Farmers disturb the soil and plant cover as little as possible. So what they do is they leave last year's crop, so they leave the previous year's crop in the ground. So let's say they had corn last year, they harvest the corn and they leave it all on the field and they plant something else in it. The stalks and the weeds will now hold the soil in place and retain all that moisture. It's also called no-till plowing. It's a great way to help keep the soil in place and protect it and prevent erosion. So it's a great method, and we see lots of it around Hancock County. Crop rotation. This is also something that a lot of farmers around here do. The farmer plants different crops in a field each year. The different types of plants absorb and restore different amounts of nutrients to the soil. So in one year, this might be corn, next year it might be beans, the next year it might be wheat. So you never plant the same crop in the same field more than 2 years in a row. Contour plowing. Farmers plow their fields along the curves of a slope, Probably not going to find a lot of that here in our county, but if you get over into other parts of Ohio, mid-Ohio, southern Ohio, eastern Ohio, sure, you're going to start to see more of this, where farmers plow around the curves of hills. This helps prevent soil from washing away and slows the runoff and erosion. Conservation buffers. Buffers include filter strips, grassed waterways, and riparian buffers. Riparian means it's located along the edge of a stream. We've got tons of these around our county too. Just take a look. And this is one example. This is a wide strip of grass that's planted in the field or in between the field and the river and the creek. And what it is, it's designed. All this water that's coming off the field will be captured by the grass and help filter it out and keep the soil from running into the creek. It's a great, inexpensive way to help control and keep our soil safe. Windbreaks. Windbreaks are where you take rows of trees or bushes that are planted along the edge of fields to prevent wind erosion. The trees slow down the wind and hold the soil in place. Most windbreaks are evergreen trees, pines and spruces. And you can see them. They just plant them in big rows, long rows, and as that wind whips across the land, hits the trees, and all the soil behind it is now protected. Terracing. We obviously don't do this here. Forget it. You need mountains for this. So it's used in farming, steeply sloped, hilly, or mountainous lands. You're not going to see it anywhere around here. It creates a stair-step effect to slow the water down and prevent erosion and soil runoff. Finally, wetlands. Again, you'll see a lot of these around our county too. It's a marsh-like area of shallow water that lies between the cropland and the streams and the rivers or lakes. Basically, it catches and holds the water as it runs off the field, slowing the soil erosion. Think of it, wetlands are like nature's kidneys. They help filter out the soil and the chemicals before it goes actually into the river or the creeks or the lakes. So wetlands are another very important conservation practice that we have. All right, 3 flashcards I want you to complete before you come to class. Number 1, erosion. 2, nutrient depletion. And 3, conservation. All the definitions are right in these notes that we just did. All right, see you in class.